contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.
Now, Tectone lost, in his own words, the vibe check.
What is a civil case? Spoiler alert, guys. I lost a civil case. I did. Hey, I did. And we're talking, I lost. It's true. We're talking about everything. What is a civil case? So a civil case is essentially a vibe check. What is a civil case? So a civil case is essentially a vibe check.
Mind you, he had 5 lawyers. And still the courts have reasonable grounds to believe that Tectone committed sexual assault and stalking.
Damn.
That's basically the whole video. You could just click off now. You don't have to watch anymore, to be honest. That's all you need to know.
It's StaticTokyo.
So yeah, Tectone, a popular content creator somehow. I mostly know him because gotcha niggas would constantly be on his ass, or he would constantly be on some other gotcha niggas ass. I don't know. I also knew of him due to one of the content creators that I personally enjoy and watch considering Shotty is kind of gone, Hex Juice, which we will get into that whole thing in a minute. But yeah, I think more recently he just reacts and gives his opinion on shit. I mostly see him arguing with niggas on Twitter, or people saying fuck Tectone, and I, to be honest, minded my own business until I heard that they got your mans.
They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with.
So quickly, we're going to go through what the protective order says. The court found that there is reasonable grounds to believe that Tectone has assaulted and stalked his ex-girlfriend, Pink.
How
the fuck did this nigga end up with Pink? Now, I want to state something because I was kind of confused, but I realized that Tectone's ex-wife is Freem. But I didn't want to confuse people that may think I'm talking about Freem. So for clarification, I'm talking about Tectone and his ex-girlfriend, Pink, not the ex-wife. Understood? Good. Now, Tectone cannot communicate to the person protected by this order in any manner, must get rid of all his guns, and cannot disseminate, reproduce, or share any kind of media of that person protected by this order. Now, this protective order is said to last 10 full years. Now, you're probably wondering,
what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
He allegedly, do I even have to say allegedly anymore if bro lost the civil case? I don't know. But most likely, this nigga made Pink do the sucky suck when she didn't want to. If it isn't already clear, that is a big no-no. That like isn't cool at all. You shouldn't do that. And then Pink also claims he would record her doing such acts, which is gross. That's not good. You shouldn't do that. Yo, this is Editor Tokyo. I didn't explain why I'm using these tweets instead of more stuff from this document that you've seen me when I read the protective order and affidavit and all that shit. That's because a lot of that stuff has info that I don't think Pink wants out right now. I'm using these parts because it just says that, yeah, he lost and he can't do this, that, and the third. But I'm not using other specific details because, you know, it has some information on there that, you know, I don't have any right to put out. And I also want to quickly go over something. While researching, I saw a lot of people kind of dismiss this whole thing because Pink does a certain line of work that YouTube would curb stomp me if I even said the name. And while that line of work ain't my cup of tea, I'm not going to judge a nigga's whole existence based on that. I simply don't indulge in that content and mind my business. Crazy part is, niggas that complain about it the most are the niggas that end up paying the monthly subscriptions. So, but despite whatever Pink does to earn her bread, that doesn't make her getting assaulted dismissible. And if you think that way, you're a dickhead. It's that simple. You're a shit person. But following Pink's claims, Tectone has been very vocal, gloating about having multiple lawyers.
I have a team of 5 lawyers. I have a team of 5 lawyers because I understand that I'm a hated person on the internet and anybody can come out crying, say bullshit, nobody will fact check it, and if they do that, I'm gonna sue their ass.
They got your mans on sex assault charges.
Also talked about how Pink went silent because she quote unquote knows she fucked up.
Y'all ever notice that? Why y'all think Pink don't talk about me no more? Cause she knows she's fucked. Cause she knows she's fucked. Yep. Every now and then, this is what she does. This is what she does. All she'll do is pin. All she'll do is pin old tweets. She won't tweet anything new because she knows she's fucked. Yep. Every now and then she tweets a little kitty face. Won't say shit, which is weird. Because before she had all this to talk about. But man, Pink, if only you knew the shit that I knew. But don't worry, you'll find out. And what's crazy is, Pink, and I'm gonna let you know, I would still forgive you if you apologized. I lost a civil case. Of course. That's what's crazy. But you won't, and it's gonna be great to see what happens. I lost a civil case. But it is a shame. Because I hate how you have to act like things were bad. It's truly a shame. And now you've built your entire image on lies. And do you know what's gonna happen when those lies crumble, Pink? You lose everything. I lost a civil case.
Hey, hold on, this shit ain't funny. It ain't funny, but it is.
I bet my left nut if that nigga would have won the case, he would have never said.
So a civil case is essentially a vibe check.
But let's actually go over what a civil case is. Reminder that I'm not a lawyer. I'm a fucking YouTuber with Google. So please research things yourself. Now, from my understanding, a civil and criminal case are different. In a criminal case, if you're found guilty, you have to have a fuck ton of proof that you did the shit, and you could be sent to jail, and in some cases and some places, even sent to the shadow realm. While in a civil case, it's more so on a preponderance of the evidence, and usually the person with the burden of proof is the one doing the charge. But it's not as like high stakes as a criminal case, where it's like, let's ballpark it like 95% sure. Here it's like a 51%, you know what I mean? And as we know, Tectone with his 5 lawyers, well, I think Pink only had 1, he lost, which resulted in the court order. And that basically says, give me your guns, stay away from Pink, and shut the fuck up. Now, a lot of people argue that civil cases are easier to win than criminal cases, which is statistically true because in civil cases, the burden of proof standards are lower. But also keep in mind, 95 to 96 of civil cases are handled before they even go to trial. So then you could also argue that civil cases seem easier to win because the niggas win and know they gonna win so they don't settle. And even when researching statistics, I get varied numbers, but even with more civil cases being settled before even going to court, plaintiffs win slightly more than half the time. I see numbers from 53% up to 66%, but then the numbers change because some sources go by specific charges instead of just in general, and then some sources are just old. One of them I found is from like 2005. Nigga, I was born in 2005. Make of that what you will, and again, please do your own research. And if you are, for some reason, a lawyer watching me, feel free to correct me. Please don't take what I'm saying as gospel. For the love of God, don't do that. I'm not news. Research shit yourself. And I go back to what I said before. If the nigga would have won the civil case, it would have been a different tone. I promise you. The whole vibe check argument wouldn't have happened.
You made me fold. Shut the fuck up.
Now, Hex Juice was a VTuber that I was low-key a fan of, and even was kind enough to expose my content to her audience, and then she vanished. And I even asked where she went on Twitter because there wasn't any new videos and her Twitter account was gone, and people were like, oh, Shawty took a hiatus to focus on school. And I was like, oh, word, good for her. Then I went and minded my business. That's until Hex Juice then recounts her experience with Tectone and states that her primary reasoning for leaving was due to her association with him. Damn. And knowing that he would never let her be free from that association. Hex Juice says that she cut contact in September of 2025, around the time Kurt got, sniped, and then also deleted the Twitter. Hex was seeing the shift Tectone was making into being a radical alt-right nigga or whatever. Why would you do that? Since early 2025, and the shift he made after Kirk died was the turning point where Hex wasn't really fucking with it. For background, Hex Juice met Tectone back in February 2024 when she only had like 1K subs on YouTube. Obviously, to a smaller creator, having a big creator reach out or even acknowledge you is crazy. After they met, shit was cool. He had her back when larger creators were on her dick, defended her against a small creator that sexually harassed her and tried to shit talk and assassinate her character. So it seems like the power of friendship right now. This was gotcha Tectone, not whatever Tectone we got right now. Hex was aware of the flaws that were publicly known about Tectone around this time, February to August of 2024. But it's not the same as the shit that is out right now.
I lost a civil case.
To Hex's understanding, people didn't really fuck with bro because he would be disagreeable and overly confrontational when it comes to, spending your money for a wife who you might not get in the end. Hex and Tectone basically clicked because at the time, Hex agreed with him regarding another gacha content creator. However, Hex agreed with Tectone when it was very pro-consumer and anti-corp in the gacha community. However, Shoddy sometimes didn't like the way this nigga would phrase or present it.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal.
Especially when Tectone fans are the type to ride dick and just hound you. That even Tectone himself would encourage and ask his fans to do, which is bitch shit. Don't do that. Now this puts Hex in a weird spot because it's either voice her opinions on why she disagrees and suffered the harassment or heckling, or, you know, especially considering, you know, she was way smaller than him. As time went on, Hex was finding it difficult to actually voice her true opinion, especially if they weren't in line with Tectone. Because of course a lot of Tectone's audience did watch Hex at this point, so she would just talk around points she didn't fuck with or try to crack jokes, but his mods and editors would even clip Hex stream and then send them to Tectone so he would hear what she says if she made a joke about him or did voice a disagreement. Tectone would then watch these clips live and usually give a negative response and then urge his chat to heckle her. So Shawty was just, you know, watched all the time, kinda. Tectone would also make weird jokes towards her when she would hang on Discord, and also just make her the butt of the joke and basically just kind of be mean. And of course, I know some people will argue, yo, they're friends. We're all like playfully mean to our friends. Now, I am one of those niggas that will bully my friends all the time, but that's only if the other friend's cool with that and you aren't actually causing, you know, emotional damage. Hex, however, was in a spot where anything that wasn't in line with Tectone's views, it was met with confrontation. For example, in July 2024, they got in an argument about Zone Zero.
Is this nigga serious?
I'm mad at you because you're invalidating my opinions and it's very frustrating.
How?
Because disagreement on like perspectives and opinions, I can't like prove you wrong because it's your perspective, just like you can't prove me wrong.
Okay, so how did I say you can't have an opinion?
By saying that, and you've constantly said anybody who disagrees with you is either on a hate train or is dumb.
Yep.
So no one's allowed to have any opinions.
No, you're allowed.
Right?
You're allowed. I didn't say you couldn't have an opinion.
Yeah, but no one's allowed to, like, you understand that when you're, like, quadruple the size of every other streamer in gacha,
Yep.
and you're also so incredibly obnoxious.
True.
It means that absolutely everyone is invalidated when you say that opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just me, though. It's just one person's word.
Yeah, but it's, you know that it's not.
Oh, sure. But the thing is, I think people who judge a game off of 2 hours are dumb.
I didn't play 2 hours. I've played about 9 hours now.
But when people were making their original, I hate this game so much, it makes me so mad. Not only have they, once again, I don't think you have to play the whole game to know that it's bad, but to at least have information on what the game becomes. But as of current time of recording, not a single person on Earth has gotten to endgame.
His claim right now is that you can't say a game is bad within 2 hours of gameplay because you don't really know what the game is. Now, I'm gonna say this. If I sit down and I spend 2 hours of my life and I get no enjoyment out of it, then the game is dog shit, in my opinion, of course. I'm not going to waste my life and try to get into endgame with a game I didn't even enjoy in the first place. And in my opinion, I actually really enjoyed Zone Zero when I did play it, so I don't know. You know, you can go ahead and listen to the whole conversation, and I will say I just disagree with how Tectone handled his conversation because there's multiple times where he would twist her words out of context of what she was actually trying to say. Then Tectone decides to pull up a notepad and write down everything she says. I don't know, I'll just show y'all.
And because you want to have a valid opinion, and it's extremely obvious why I'm trying to play this game again, because I'm already having people come in here and invalidate me because I'm like stupid because I don't agree with you.
I think
so.
that
I'm going to play more of the game so that I can have a valid opinion because you're invalidating people.
Sure.
That's the same reason you play Genshin Impact. But you asking me that is like in such weird, like it's such a weird thing to do.
I think you're wrong in almost everything you've said this entire time. And I think
that you're wrong in almost
cherry-picking,
everything you've said in the entire
And I think you're
time.
straw-manning very hard.
You've strawmanned like almost every single thing that I have said.
Okay,
That is insane.
So I'm using words that you've said, and then you're using words that I have not said.
You're using words in a completely different form and fashion to paint a different version of what I said.
No, you have said multiple things, and I've used your words, and then you're not using my words. You're using my type of activities that I participate in completely different contexts. Because what you're saying is that you are doing this, even though there's so much other shit that you could be doing, yet you're not doing that. Yet when I play the updates, there's nothing
about regular consumers.
Do you
I'm
know
talking
why you're
about
cutting me
people.
off right here? Do you know why you're cutting me off right here? Because you know the point I'm about to make.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it. What you just said is, I am still using what you said. Versus you're using things. That is what you said.
That's not how that works.
But that is what you said.
You're misrepresenting. You twist my words.
Okay, so I'll write it out.
And then you say, well, I'm saying what you said.
Okay, so then let me write it out. Okay, maybe we're having a communication issue. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you're doing this accidentally. Okay, so I'm gonna write it down on my screen, and every word you say, I'm gonna write out.
That was so fucking condescending.
How?
Because maybe you're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah, me giving you the benefit of the doubt?
No, because what you're saying, the full sentence of that is, maybe you're being like kind of dumb, not on purpose.
No, I'm saying maybe we have okay, I think you're getting a little bit too emotional. I feel like we're having a communication issue here.
I love that.
I'm gonna be real, Hex Juice's whole point is basically that Tectone is allowed to have his opinion, but shitting on and invalidating others' opinions that differ from his isn't cool. That paired with him being the biggest gacha creator and not exactly keeping his chat in check, and in fact enabling the behavior a bit, is just icky. After this happened, another content creator decided to jump in, and Hex already had issues with this content creator in the past, but it basically put Hex in a position where it was choose the nigga she already had beef with, or choose the nigga that she just had a heated debate with, or choose neither and get jumped by both communities. Hex chooses Tectone, unfortunately. She believed that they were still cool, and plus she knew turning against them wouldn't go so well, since she states that she has seen Tectone's community harass people that had problems with him months after the problem even occurred. And Tectone himself would apparently bring up their channel and praise the hate comments his community would leave.
Weird.
Hex Juice was getting her shit pushed back for like 6 months. Constant harassment. She didn't recover from the argument between her and Tectone. And when she got harassment from other content creators, Tectone didn't have her back anymore. Apparently stating that it's her fault, and he was also upset since he caught a bit of heat too due to how he spoke to her. And no, I don't give a fuck that she's a woman. If a nigga told me, I don't think you're doing this on purpose, so I'ma write it down. I'm becoming their stepdad that day.
What are we talking about?
But yeah, Tectone just continues to make small jabs at Hex publicly, and obviously I make jabs at niggas all the time, not in the extent that I'm like belittling them or insulting their character. I just say fuck you and I don't like you and I move on. But Tectone, at least the way I view it, would kind of point her out, even though he has told her privately to not disagree or argue with him publicly anymore because it makes him look bad, and that he wouldn't disagree with a woman anymore. But then there's clips of him disagreeing and calling out Hex specifically in chat.
Then how about a follow-up message of, hey, when do you want to talk? It's like, bro, like, don't put me in these situations like Hex Juice did, where I gotta explain people how to fucking communicate and talk, and then I sound like the condescending douchebag. What did I even do? You were making some dumbass points about ZZZ. Your ass got cooked, and then you pulled the emotional woman card that I had to deal with on stream. And then I get called the bad guy because you was being a bitch.
Damn, nigga.
Then, as we know, Hex took a bit of a hiatus for mental health, which in the end resulted in her just stepping away from it entirely. She states that she isn't exactly happy with how her content career panned out, or more so the route she took, being a gacha creator and then reaction channel, and even someone scared to speak her own mind when it comes to politics, and even compromised her beliefs and quality of her character. All because she was driven by fear of harassment from fans, other content creators, and specifically Tectone. Now let's backtrack a bit.
It's rewind time.
And also, read this dog face off because I'm obviously not going over every single itty bitty detail, so you know, read nigga, read. But Pink and Hex did talk, especially about things that was going on with Freem, and then usually positive things about Tectone, until you know they broke up. The Freem situation later turned out to not be true, hence why I didn't talk about it in this video. And Pink did warn Hex about Tectone, but left out the full assault. Hex, thinking it's just a misunderstanding or not the whole picture, went to Tectone. At this time, her and Tectone were still like on speaking terms. Tectone managed to explain some of the things happening and just denied some other things, and Hex chalked it up to be, oh, the relationship is just toxic in general. Tectone then convinces Hex to go with him to TwitchCon, but almost like he tried to go to places that he think Pink would be, like a party with nothing but VR chat streamers in it. If you don't know, Pink was in the VR chat community heavy. He also pressured Hex to call Pink and tell her that she doesn't want any part in the situation. Now, by the time Pink came out about like the more serious and gross actions that Tectone more than likely did, Hex had already been convinced that Pink was the one stalking and trying to ruin Tectone's career, which he regrets, especially now since, you know, the nigga lost the civil case.
They got your mans on sex assault charges.
And she can agree that Tectone has the capacity to manipulate and coerce others due to what she has seen and even went through to some extent. Now, with all that being said, I personally do not like Tectone, and I do find him gross. Now, thanks to all of those who think I'm worth their money, I appreciate it. Tell me what your opinion is in the comments. Again, be respectful, don't harass anybody. If anything, support, you know, the victim, which is Pink in this case. I would say support Hex Juice, but she's like gone. And again, make sure to go over the sources yourself. Alright, peace.